E-mini Wizard for marketwizards.com and the eminiwizard.com. Reminding traders to use risk capital you can afford to lose. We've had a round tripper today. And we have suggested anybody that is on trailers, you can hang on to it if you want. Make sure you understand yesterday's low, 1475. Trailers could come down and obviously even take out the angel, the overnight angel. But this was a very important area, we thought, yesterday to make sure that you get paid by this 10.5 to 12.5. And I'm reminding traders of that. This is a double right now. This is a double bottom. And if you got this, I'm hoping it was on trailers and not just because you closed your eyes and shorted. This 35 is our resistance, and then this 27 to 28 area resistance ahead of that. And I think today has been somewhat damaging to the longs in that they could not defend their turf. They defended it early, but subsequently they dropped the ball today, because if they had held this 27, 28, then they obviously could have made their case. But this was all done in fluff. And once we undermined the scene of the crime, 33, we opened the door to close the gap and obviously come and test the lower regions of the day's range. So what's next? Let's take a look at other ideas to show potential, and we still have to respect the angel for now. 12.5 to 10.5 as our support idea. But let's review a couple other important ideas. And this is an umbrella trade. And from umbrella trades, we can get sharp snaps. But every one of them has been met with a sell. That's the bad news for the longs right now. Remember when buy the dip, I'll be polite and say buy the dip, worked every time? Well, you get these sharp bounces, but they fail and roll over, and that tells you you are in a corrective market. And we're coming into seasonally a strong period of time, but we need to understand, so far we have made very little progress this year in terms of hitting new highs and then holding that territory. 26.98 and a quarter is last year's high. It's not that far away from where we are. And we've also got a hidden pivot at 27.06 and a quarter as support below where we are now. Don't know if the primary trade is done, but certainly price-wise it is. Price and time, still a little bit more time. We could make lower lows still, but obviously from a risk and reward standpoint, anybody that understands the dynamics of making sure you get paid, you don't want to risk 6, 7, 8 points to get 1 or 2 more. It just doesn't make sense. These traders from overnight right here were taken out. So that 22 area is still going to be an initial resistance. We said we wanted to pay attention to that 35 high. that could be a first resistance idea on a bounce, 35 to 38. Because this was that middle pivot idea in the predictive chart. right? So we say we got to watch that, because if that's the case, then and we can't get above it and stay there, then we're really still trading this box. So at this point, that box has been abandoned, call that abandoned, and now we are testing subsequently into the next support box. And I point this out ahead of time just because we can see where this low support is and understand where that 98.25 idea in 06 relative to this box. So I'm not making a call or a prediction, but I'm looking ahead. It's like baseball, where my dad always told me, you got to know the situation. He was talking context. I didn't understand it as context, but that's what he meant. You got to know this, what's the count? You're out there on the third base, which he played. I get hit with the ball gets hit to me. What am I going to do with it? How many outs are there? How many strikes on the batter? Is there a man on base? What's the inning? What's the score? That was all context. And those lessons still help me, because that's really what we're doing is, okay, if the ball comes down here, what's the next likely support basis this chart? What makes me think we can get the beach ball to start up here, and then, because that's where we started yesterday, right? And then to come down here, and what makes me think we can push the ball down here and stay here without some kind of a bounce. And he was great at that. He was absolutely, I saw him make plays I couldn't believe. Bare hand catches and whatever. And he was so humble, nonchalant. One of the best lines he said, and I'll never forget: keep your mouth shut and let your bat do the talking. And by that, of course, he meant don't have to brag. He said, if you're good, people will find out. Just play the game and love the game for the game's sake. And think of it as you're out there with a bunch of your friends just having a good time. That's the way I trade. That's the way I like to think of this business. Testing the low. It doesn't always happen with bots, but it's axiomatic that they try to knock out the low. It's a double bottom, but within a point above or below, and that's typically a double bottom. 10.5, we said, was a key idea based on one of our charts, which is the swing chart. And this resistance zone has held, and now we are in this fighting box. Lower highs, lower lows. And big support right here, that line. Anyways, the irony, of course, is that my talking is my bet, but if you use that analogy, you stay humble. And Zeke and I, as you've seen, very humble in here. And we consider small victories anytime that we can take a few points out of the market. And I hope we were able to help some of you today make a few points and learn a little bit more about our game.